Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. I'm Richard Castleberry, your host for today's session, Smarter Decisions, Faster, How AI is Driving Business Strategy in 2025. Thank you for taking the time to join us today as we explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping the way organizations think, plan, and grow. In the next 45 to 60 minutes, we'll unpack how businesses are moving from reactive to predictive and how AI is helping leaders navigate uncertainty. Plus, we'll have a Q&A session at the end, so feel free to drop your questions in the chat as we go. Our guest today is someone who's deeply embedded in the practical side of digital transformation, Ali Hashmi, Chief Technology Officer at TechGlide. Hi, Ali. It's great to have you here.
Thanks, Richard. I'm excited to be here and would like to share my insights on how AI is driving real business strategy. Hopefully, not just the buzzwords.
Well, let's start with the big picture. How are forward thinking companies using AI to shape their 2025 strategies, Ali?
Yeah, so we have seen a clear shift in how, AI used to be a nice, cool tool back, a couple of years back when ChatGPT came along to help us, write better emails or help us, think through some of, ideas that we have. But now there has been a strategic shift. Now AI is more sort of like your co-pilot, or if you want to call it, maybe it's your sidekick. So whether it's like optimizing supply chains or predicting customer churn, AI is helping the industry leaders to make decisions faster and more confidently.
Love that. AI as co pilot. Um, what do you think has fundamentally shifted in the last year or two regarding AI in business strategy?
So I mean, lot have happened in the last couple of years. There has been a significant increase in the accessibility of AI for the decision makers, whether it's in the form of real-time dashboards, pulling in the data and trying to make sense of the data that's available. Based on that, creating forecasting patterns, making decision intelligence in the platforms, and also giving leaders insights. Like in making decisions instead of manual reporting that sometimes takes months or weeks to compile. Some examples that come to mind, like in the aviation industry, right? Unfortunately, we have seen a couple of unfortunate events happen earlier this year. Those can be circumvented now with the help of AI, because now you can assess. There are devices out there that constantly monitor the strain, for example, on the body of the plane. So you can constantly monitor those kind of issues that are happening on a plane, and you can, based on the data, the real-time data that you're receiving, you can forecast the type of fault it can create in the future. So you can predict the future in a data-driven format, based on that, and make decisions appropriately. Another great example is in the world of e-commerce. Right now you can create those personalized experiences by understanding your customer information, that people who are coming to your website, how they're interacting with it, what kind of products they like, based on their geographics, based on their demographics, based on their social economic settings and all that. So there are a lot of variables you can put in, and with the help of all the data that you receive, you can use AI models to be able to generate a better user experience, more targeted, more focused, and hopefully in turns, will help you improve overall, bottom line of the business as well. So a lot is happening, and it will be, it's interesting times ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that they'll be able to use AI to possibly make flying safer. It's pretty incredible stuff. Ali, let's talk about which sectors are seeing the highest ROI from AI powered strategies.
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm seeing it like across the board, but let's say if we have to pick few which are really benefiting out of it, starting from like finance, right? So we have seen like there's been a lot and lot of work has been done over the years with automated trading, right? Being able to make intelligent decisions, about trading, and really AI is helping that, because there's a lot of data which is available, the user behaviors, again, the economic forces that come into play. So that all keeping in mind. So there are automating automated trading platforms that are getting more and more intelligent, and getting deep into understanding the patterns and then making decisions and helping the financial people in the financial markets to make those informed decisions. Another example which is really near and dear to me is in the retail and the e-commerce industry. Again, I mentioned earlier about the whole personalization, right? Walmart is at the forefront of it. I mean, Walmart is looking to build agents that it's not just simply doing a basic agent work, but they're looking to build the whole experience around where you don't even have to do shopping on your own. You will have this agent who will understand you, and based on that will make decisions, for help you make decisions in your shopping experience. So that's from the customer standpoint. If you look at the back end, the operation side of things, help better inventory management, right? That's one of the issues we faced after COVID, was the supply chain issues, right? So if you would have better predictive patterns based on the data available, we could have not probably run into those kind of issues. So there are more and more AI is getting embedded both on the front end part of the use customer experience and also on the back end running the business operations. Healthcare is another industry, right? We have Google recently announced that have this AI engine that can understand imaging and scans. I mean, those things have been there, but they're getting more and more intelligent. It's not just about understanding the scan, but also looking at the patterns, right? The type of and understanding those results based on previous inputs and previous data that is available already, which is even like a physician will have obviously a knowledge about the patients that they have seen, but AI will have a wealth of knowledge across all the physicians, right? So that's an advantage you get. You can make faster diagnostics, better custom patient engagement, and improve your operational workflows. Manufacturing is another area where a lot is happening in terms of, again, cutting down downtime, improving supply chain, increasing the overall productivity. And marketing and advertising, another area. And I'm really excited to see that there is, I think, chat gpt, the model 5 is due to come out sometime in August. And one of the things that it'll have is the multimodal processing, which means that, I mean, right now, it can do documents, it can do text, it can do some images, but this will be multimodal. It'll take all sorts of medium as input, like videos, voice, images, data, documents, whatever, and make sense out of it. So that's really, you can understand how it will help with the marketeers in making that personalized, marketing experience for their customers. And they're going to be able to make intelligent decisions. Brands, especially the new entrants in the market, right? If you're a new brand, it's very difficult for you to get your foothold in the market. So now with the wealth of knowledge that you will have across all these established brands, you can really make those informed decisions. So AI, in a sense, is also creating equality, right, across, if you want to say that, the barriers to entry is getting more and more lower with that, as the new entrants are coming in, because they have all this wealth of information that they can pick up with the with the data that is available, and the understanding of the data available through the AI models.
Well, here's where AI really shines, helping companies move from data overload to strategic clarity. So my question is, Ali, how is AI enabling predictive decision making in 2025? And maybe more importantly, how can leaders trust these insights when the stakes are high?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And again, like, it's just been a couple of years when AI has become really mainstream, though machine learning has been there for a long time. But but the importance was, that how to utilize all that data that is available to you, right? And again, I'm gonna just gonna ingrain the concept here that it should be always the business that is driving technology, not vice versa, right? Sometimes it's not like if you want to use AI for the sake of using AI, but it should make sense for your business to do that. And so really, in that sense, AI is helping leaders make smarter decisions, right? And AI is as good as the data you send. So I mean, it's very important that the quality of data is what you're providing to AI is actually, that's going to help you make that type of decision that you're looking to make. So but AI is great in ingesting vast amount of data, making sense out of it, identifying patterns, and based on that, providing actions. Again, I'm going to reiterate the concept of co-pilot and sidekick. It should not replace human intelligence. There's a whole thing about human in the loop, which is kind of another buzzword. I promise you, I'm not going to say buzzword, but there are going to be few that going to come out. So human in the loop is very important, right? That you have to have that human intelligence, which can obviously, AI doesn't replace human intelligence, at least not yet. Um, but so that is very important, that how you use a human judgment, with this, the patterns that you're receiving from AI models, and then make it can also help you do a lot of real world testing, right? So again, I'm going to go back to the example of Walmart. So now they have gone more, they call it like an agentic experience. So it's not about users. They call this their sales agent Sparky, and now Sparky is going to help you. So you don't have to go, for example, to Walmart app or a Walmart website and do a search. If you're looking for a pair of jeans, or if you're looking for, like to maybe furnish your new apartment that you just purchased, you can just go to Sparky and you say, hey Sparky, I've got this apartment, this is what I like, I don't like, and this is how, I like more modern type of furniture, I like this kind of color schemes, and also based on your background and stuff, Sparky will help you. Hey, these are the 10 things that you think you need, as far as the furniture is concerned, the decor that you need for your apartment, and it'll help you fill up your cart, so you don't have to go about searching around, and look for things. So the Walmart is really at the forefront of that, and they are really, creating these smart agents, these powerful agents who are not just going to be just a chat GPT style searches, but really building those agentic experience to the end user, and helping them with their shopping experience. So yeah, interesting times ahead.
Incredible. Finding even easier ways to help us spend our money, huh?
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
it seems that AI is not just transforming strategy, but also reshaping teams. So in your opinion, Ali, what new skills are needed as AI becomes more central to business operations?
That's a great question. It's like, and that's what people are afraid of, that AI will take up all of our jobs, and soon we'll be just, there'll be no job in the market. I'm going to quote here Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, and we all, I mean, just to for the audience here, they are NVIDIA is at the forefront of AI. Is a chip manufacturer, and their chips are actually used in most of these AI, for AI processing. And there's a whole obviously political part sense of it as well. Part of it, which I'm not going to go into it, but he's the one who's saying that he's like, they're saying that they're hiring people like more than ever before, and his workforce is getting more and more productive. So, according to him, and also according to what we have seen, there will be an increase of jobs definitely with the help of AI. But we have to keep in mind there are certain type of jobs which are more low level kind of data entry type of jobs, and things that require more human labor will probably go away. So we cannot, that's definitely going to be there. You don't need data entry people. You don't need people doing, for example, like a secretarial or admin level work, because a lot of it will be replaced by the AI. But you will need more high-end skills. For example, you will need product managers. You need data translator. You need people who can write these, prompts. And by the way, just on the side note, we prompt engineering was something what really, really kind of got into in the last couple of years, but now it's more changing into contextual engineering, which is not about just writing a prompt, but not giving more of a context to an AI, so it can take those multivariables and make decisions out of the data that you're providing it to it. So, and marketing jobs will always going to increase, but you have to keep in mind we have to all have a good understanding of AI. We need to understand how AI can benefit us to make our jobs more productive, right? That's going to be the key, right? Because if you're not going to use AI, you're going to be obsolete pretty fast. So yeah, everybody have to, we have to up their game. We have to increase our skill sets. Sure, the jobs will be there, but there will be more demanding in terms of, what you want out of, because it's no longer about going around and accumulating all the data and trying to make sense out of it. All that information is available to you now. How about you better use that information to forecast and to create better and more efficient business processes around you. So so jobs are going to increase. There will be also increased need for ethical, AI officers, because another thing, is very important. I think we can we can go into detail later on that, is that the whole paradigm of how what's the role of ethics, and how how much of that privacy is going to invade at the at the expense of providing data to AI. But so those are the things that the jobs are going to increase, but they'll be more demanding. There will be more intelligence required. So it will be really a test of human intelligence, that how it's going to evolve in with the help of using the information that we're getting from AI. The C level jobs are going to be more critical, because now they're going to have the data or the understanding of data at their fingertips, and how do they make sense out of it, and how do they make decisions, so that they can they can learn faster, they can more productive decision that will help ultimately improve the business's bottom line, and generally increasing the the productivity overall.
Yeah, I've actually heard something along the lines of that, this fear of AI taking jobs, it's actually much more likely that it's going to be people with AI knowledge that takes the jobs from the people that do not have that knowledge. This is, I think, what's really going to happen. And so just like you said, Ali, it just speaks to how critical it is that, you know, all of us are getting more and more knowledge all the time on AI, and how we can get, how we can implement it and get it into our processes and such. So AI techniques are being actively incorporated into the C-suite toolkit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, so for example, as chief financial officers, CFOs, they can use predictive models for risk management, right? That's a big issue in any organization. That how, first of all, to identify risks, and then being able to have a mitigation strategy. So now AI can help you do both actually, but really the implementation and taking action on it, that's going to be on the CFO to come up with this, with the policies, to come up with the strategy. That's something will be on the financial officer to make that, but the data will all be available, the understanding will all be available for the another for chief marketing officers, right? Really, AI is helping a lot in the world of marketing to better segment your customer base, to better position your products or your services in the marketplace. But again, that AI can help you as a sidekick to understand the market, to give you that insights into what will be the best strategies to implement, but really the making sure that those strategies are actually going to work for your business, to make that decision, to implement them, right, to execute them. They're still going to be on the C level executive to do that. So in short, AI should not be treated as like a tech initiative. Again, business driving technology, right? So it should be considered as a think of it as a leadership initiative, right? Your competitors are already using it, right? So if you're not, you're already behind. So that's something to keep in mind when you're devising your AI strategy in your business.
Excellent. So let's break it down. What are the strategic pillars where AI is actively transforming how leadership makes decisions?
So, I mean, like I said, it's getting pretty much all across the board. But if I were to like say, pick the areas, the first is the real-time dashboard, right? So the importance of, I know the dashboards is something, executive level, they just need high-level reports, right? They everything rolled up to, so that everything, so they can understand the bottom line, right? So gone are the days like of having those quarterly reports, and we waiting at the end of the quarter to get the report and the numbers and all that. Now we have these AI powered business intelligence dashboards that are delivering, live KPIs. You can look at the live data as it's coming in and making sense out of it. Or you can look at your key performance indicators. You can understand the deviations of trends and even prescribe actions. So things will be more real time or close to real time, because you have that all that data coming in and you make sense of it. So you don't have to wait months and months before getting all the data and then make decisions out of it, right? It's very important, like holiday season. I know we are already in getting close to it. We are in the middle of the year, so a lot of the decisions the e-retailers have to make based on how customers are interacting with their website, right? And those things cannot wait for a quarterly report. That has to be taken decisions right away, or close to, because people change, buying patterns are changing, buying behaviors are changing, people likes and dislikes are changing. So you need intelligence to do that. And at TechLight, we have helped a lot of our e-commerce merchants help create those kind of AI dashboards to be able to make them those intelligent and informed decisions, with all the data that is available based on user journey, based on their customer interactions, based on the market segmentation, you know personalization and all that. Another area that comes to mind is forecasting and scenario modeling. Again, it's kind of like, for example, if we're talking about more on the business side, like inventory management, right, pricing, budgets, how to understand that, right, what sale will work best for you next weekend, right. Maybe the sale that worked this weekend may not be as effective as the next weekend, but again, all of that intelligence you can only get once you have all somebody who's making sense out of the data, and AI can do it at the fingertips for you, right. So it can help the CFOs, the CMOs make decisions, and then take their bets, basically low risk bets, if you want to say, right. It's not something you're shooting in the dark or shooting from the hip, but you have a data to back up your decisions. Personalization and segmentation I mentioned to you earlier as well. Like Walmart is again at the forefront of that, being able to create that personalization. You want products to be available, certain type of products to be available for people living in the colder areas versus people living in the hot and humid area like Houston. So um, so I mean, those kind of decisions, how would you do? You can only do it based on the data that's provided to you, based on client interaction, based on the repeat purchases that people are doing with your business. That's also very important, right? The repeat customers, the the checkout, the cart abandonment is a big area, right? And we work a lot with our customers in that, how to minimize the cart abandonment. And AI is really helping, with that, because you can really reduce the time to understand why customers are not buying from you, and then accordingly make changes and present them with the options. The other area, I would say, the fourth, if you want to say, the principle here is that AI and ops and efficiency, in general overall efficiency, right? So with warehouse automation, fraud detection is another big area where a lot of we are all kind of victim of some kind of identity theft or credit card frauds. And with AI intelligence, you can help minimize, and it's already been doing that a lot with minimizing credit card frauds specifically. So I mean, those are some of the areas that I would say really AI is accelerating, really shining, and really delivering value and providing that strategic, you know, helping you make those strategic decisions.
It's powerful. So we're not talking about AI in a silo. It's touching every function and, more importantly, every decision.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, so if the question is that no longer that should we use AI, is where we are not using it and why, right? So that's the thing that as an executive I should be asking myself.
Can you walk us through a real life example where you saw AI drive meaningful, faster decisions?
Yeah, so just come an example that comes to mind, and I kind of hinted on that a little bit earlier, is like a direct to consumer beauty brand that we work with, and they had like a huge high spikes of cart abandonment, right? And that's something we had to understand, that why people are just not buying their products. So we get kind of looked into a lot of different data touch points, like their heat maps, how people are coming to their website, how they're interacting with it, then their just general traffic patterns, and the traffic where it's coming from. So there were lots and lots of data points that we had to understand, and then we used AI to help us identify the issue. And what we boiled it down to, that there was some friction points in their mobile overall shopping experience. And that took us, normally I would say without AI, it probably would have taken us, days, if not months, to understand that, to analyze all that data. But with the help of AI, we could do it in just a couple of days. And also with the help of AI, we could do some A/B testing, like to understand what will work best. And in just a matter of couple of weeks, their card abandonment decreased by about 25%. So that's the kind of power. And again, like I said, AI is still in its infancy. These things could be done even much faster, right? So that's something, creating, for example, your landing pages for your paid ads, right? You can really use the power of AI to help you make more converting, pages, landing pages, more converting website in general. and the day is not far, and a lot of people are already doing that. You can even create customized website, right? Richard, coming to my website can have a totally different experience than somebody else coming to my website based on their likes and dislikes. And all this could be done with AI, with the help of, with a lot of automation is happening in software development as well. You can generate lines, millions and lines of code now in the matter of just with a hit of your enter button with the help of AI. And all those changes can be done instantly, and your website look can completely change based on from where the user is coming from, based on their market segmentation. So there's a lot is happening very fast. And it'll be interesting to see how all that unfold in the next few months, actually, or maybe we don't have to wait for years, I guess.
It's amazing. Um, of course, with great power comes great responsibility. We've heard that before, right?
Mhm.
Um, as AI becomes more embedded, ethical use and compliance are critical. In your expert opinion, what frameworks should businesses use to build responsible AI systems in 2025? And how can transparency, fairness, and accountability be ensured in our AI driven decisions?
Absolutely. So transparency, equality, all that is are very important and should be at the centerfold of any kind of AI work that you are doing in your organization. I have taught ethics and IS, related issues, courses in the universities, and I always tell my students that, technology is always ahead, right? And the laws and legislation, unfortunately, are still, slow in making, right? And that's when the challenge comes in, because, we are always, way ahead in technology, and a lot of it is common sense type of principles that should always be there, in play. But with AI, I've seen that there has been a lot of work has been done. One of the major work has been done is been done by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, also called OECD. They have done, obviously put out guidelines that, and it's mainly about about the rights and diversity and sustainability. Even though we are innovating, it doesn't mean that we should be violating privacy, right? Because AI needs data. It doesn't mean that you need to violate your customer privacy to get that. There are other ways. You can anonymize the data. You can make it easily available. Values and fairness is very important, right? So there should not be any kind of biases in your data model, because AI is as good as the data you feed it, right? If you're going to feed it biased data, or if you're going to create biased prompts or biased context to give it to AI, obviously that's what it's going to learn, and that's what it's going to train on. That's what it's going to deliver. And it's not just about that, it's going to be also impact your future work as well. So you want to make sure that you are respecting the human rights, you are creating those transparent and and models that are out there. There should be, and again, this organization and also other frameworks which are out there, they've constantly talk about accountability, right? So there should always be audits done to your AI systems, and they should be get accountable for these basic principles of human fairness, of accountability, of fairness, equality and values. All those should be at the centerfold of it when you're doing those kind of audits. So making sure that those principles are followed. So I mean, again, a lot of work still has to be done, and it can also has to be, be basically make sure that you are following, those principles. Um, so let me ask you a question here, right? When you are when your AI makes a decisions, can you explain why, right? If the answer is no, then there is some transparency breakdown there, right? So if if you cannot explain, you know the reason behind AI making the decision, then that's a problem, right? So and also you should look at fairness, right? Look again, like I mentioned, that there should not be biases in your data set. You should have diverse voices in your data set, right? Especially when you're talking about large data sets, and you're especially making those kind of decisions that can have a social impact. That's when you don't want to listen to just one group. You want to listen to across the diverse mindset and diverse set of people. So I mean, I mean, there are tools out there like Microsoft has this responsible AI standard checklist that they are using for their platforms like LinkedIn and Microsoft Azure, which is their SaaS, their cloud platform. So they have very strict policies in place. And my worry is that obviously companies like Microsoft and IBM, they probably have their standards in place. My worry is more on the open source side of things. But that's where unfortunately a lot of it is there is still a gray area because there is no real governing body that is doing that whole managing the open source. But definitely, as an engineer myself, or like even the business people, the executives have to keep in mind that that basic principles of ethics should still be in play. It doesn't mean that if you have a tool in your pocket that you just use it however it works best for you, but you have to keep in mind that that it's equitable, is is transparent and is secure and it's open and fair to everybody.
Great. So what about the flip side? Uh, what should leaders watch out for when embracing AI?
So, when I was taking computer science courses back in the late 90s, my, professor used to say garbage in, garbage out, right? So, the data bias is data, AI is as good as the data you feed it, right? So, again, I cannot stress that enough. So, sure, I mean, now AI is getting smarter to make sense that what data will work for it or not. So, that's there. But again, the data bias is over automation. So, sometimes, like, oh, yeah, AI is a cool tool and, you want to use it as much as possible, but you don't want to over automate, right? In the sense that trying to replace human completely, because that can sometimes backfire. So you have to use your judgment there. Ethics and transparency, again, we mentioned that earlier at length, that and there should be regulations in place, and there is a need for regulation in place across industries as well. Every industry is different, so there should be an industry wide uh, basically standards out there for it. Change management, right? That's also important. Tools are easy, you can get it, but adoption could be harder. So you have to understand what fits best for your culture in the organization. Your team will need to be get trained on it, right? You need to get buy-in across your cross platform teams. So you want to make sure that you just use it. Don't you are using the tool because they are cool or they are just up talk of the town, but you have to make sure that it kind of makes sense to your business as well.
Ali, what are the most common misconceptions or concerns about implementing AI in business strategy?
Yeah, so let's ask some questions, right? That what are the commonly asked questions here, right? So will AI instantly solve all my problems, right? Not quite. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's a very powerful tool and it's getting more and more powerful, but it's not a magic wand, right? It needs clean data, it needs clean goals, you have to specify what you need out of it, right? It's only going to be as good as what you ask it. And you need time to integrate it into real processes. Like I said, don't over automate early on. You have to start slow and then kind of have a plan to incorporate it. Another question come to mind is like, is AI just a technical challenge, right? So again, my premise again, business should drive technology. Yes, it is a technical challenge, but it's a business challenge first, right? It has to make sense for your business, for your tech, for your operations and leadership. Everybody has to all the goals should be aligned, and then only AI will make sense. A very popular question you asked me earlier too, will AI replace all human jobs? Some jobs will be replaced. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's a challenge for us as a human being to evolve ourselves, because there will be a need for more intelligence, human intelligence in the future to work with AI acting as their co-pilot. So the human AI collaboration is what is going to give us the best and most optimal results. Will off-the-shelf AI work for us? Sometime do, sometime not. Again, depends, because a lot of the times AI has to be trained specifically on your data set. So you may need to look into building your own custom AI, tools and products for better ROI. So, is AI a one-time investment, one and done investment? Not really, no. I mean, because you need to constantly train your workforce, you need to constantly train your AI models, you need to update it, you need to optimize, you need to learn, and you need to improve on it. So it's an ongoing initiative like anything else in your business, right? So it's not just a be and all magic wand that'll just fix every problems, but it has to be taken like any other business challenge, slowly and gradually, and then build it strategically in your short and long term business goals.
Yeah. Well, essential points. AI can certainly be a rocket, but obviously you need a solid launch pad and a well planned flight path. I mean, that's, I think, goes without saying, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's a whole concept behind the use of technology.
Yeah. So what's next then? What emerging AI technologies are set to influence business strategy in the next few years?
Yeah, if you would have asked me that questions a couple of months back, probably had a different answer. If you asked me today, I probably gonna have, and if you ask me a couple of months down the road, I may have. But generally speaking, because things are changing so fast in the world of AI, but generative AI is certainly, I would say is kind of a centerpiece. We have seen significant shifts in there, you know, as basic as creating, what is generative AI? Generative AI is basically building the AI model that will work on your data set that's available in your organization, right? It could be through your existing customer data, your orders data, ERP data, CRM data, whatever. Make to run tools or build tools that will go through the data, that will understand and create the help you make those informed decisions, right? Um, Now more and more we are seeing like these agentic AIs, we call them, and these are the AIs which are running on the background, and making decisions and doing things which are not visible to you, right? Such as like booking meetings, handling your support tickets, so reducing those kind of jobs or eliminating in some cases those kind of jobs require more a human labor intensive type of work. But now these agentic AI which are running across background and just making decisions for you, and then just and asking, and you have to do, and you can do better and bigger things while those things are taken care for you. I'm really looking forward to this Chat GPT Model 5, which is set to come out, actually in August. And that's going to be like it's a multimodal AI, and it's going to take pretty much any kind of data input, be text, images, voice, video, or any other interaction that we do, and start making more deeper analysis and more insights into it. And because that's going to be a big game changer. So a lot of things are happening in that sense, where is kind of difficult to predict, but I think the core of it will still be like being that co-pilot, that sidekick, that'll help humans getting and doing bigger and better things.
Okay. So of course I'm going to naturally ask you a question that's going to try to see if you can make a prediction here. But so what does a truly AI augmented organization look like by 2026 and beyond?
I mean, so I'm going to give you an example, right? It's going to be, for example, like a customer support team, right? Using AI, they're handling 80 to 90% of their inquiries without even human intervention, right? And these are not just like basic chatbot type of answers like an FAQ, but really intelligent, in-depth answers, to really solve the problems, right? So it's not something. I know a lot of these chatbots you see, but they ask you series of questions at the end of it if it's too complex, they have to forward you to some second, third level support team. So what I'm saying is that these customer support AIs, or these, ambient AIs, if you want to say, they're just running on the background and doing all those things for you. It could be another example that comes to mind is like a sales team, right? Who's doing all that work for you, looking at your leads and working through your data and qualifying the leads and going through multiple steps until really then at the point where you are coming in the end and just closing the deal. That'll be great for you, Richard, for example. That kind of a sidekick, or a co-pilot. So for leadership level, more and more making those informed decisions faster, and not just waiting months and months for the reports to be compiled, but just it's available to you all the time, and so you can really be making fast moving decisions. Again, like, at this, I'm not going to say that the goal is to replace the people. Sure, there will be jobs replaced, but it's just to have them do their work in a better and more efficient way with the help of AI here.
Yeah, I like where the future's going, Ali. You're right. That sounds like something that could help me. Final thoughts, Ali. Final thoughts. What advice would you give a leadership team trying to start or scale their AI-driven strategy?
So I would say don't chase trends. Yeah, look at your competitors. AI should be at this, should be part of your strategy, but don't like over automate. Look for if you're, let's say, if you're an organization starting with AI, look at the use cases, couple of use cases, the high impact use cases where you think AI can immediately deliver value. Start with those, right? Start with your cross function team. Don't just hire a bunch of AI engineers to solve your problems. You need people with business understanding to solve your problems. And yeah, the AI engineers will help you create those tools and you know applications that will help you get there. But you need those cross-functional teams, people who understand the business, and their intelligence will help you create this, AI models. Help data health and model transparency, we talked about it earlier, that's very important. The auditing of those models, have that built in early on in your process. And don't let the have technology work in silos, such that you later realize that it's not really, it's not following the equality and transparency principles that you as an organization, it's basically for any organizations, it's one of their core principles. So we at TechLight really help, tech teams, or we help in companies with their overall AI strategy, both from the technical and business side, and help them, identify the areas where we think AI can help them in a short term and create a long term, strategy for them, and make AI more sort of not as a cost center, but more of a strategic accelerator for your business.
Excellent. Well, Ali, thank you so much for your insights. This has been one of the most grounded and action-oriented conversations on AI I've had in a long time, for sure. We're going to open it up for Q&A now, if that's okay. I've got some questions in the Q&A here in the chat.
Yes.
So if it's okay, I'll start off with a few of the questions here. Alifia is I hope I said your name properly. She's got a question, so let me just see what she wants to ask you. How do you manage compliance when using AI in industries with strict regulations like finance and healthcare?
Yeah, so I mean, if you talk about healthcare, right, this is basically more sort of like, HIPAA is at the centerfold. And again, the basics is about, patient's privacy, right? So if you are, building any kind of, AI model, you want to make sure that the data protection and security is at the centerfold of it, right? You use proper, I mean, the data that you're providing to the AI models is anonymized. For example, if you're looking for large patterns, for example, if you're understanding a disease or something, right? You don't want to use people's personal information to do that. You want to make sure that there are appropriate access control and logs, that are part of that implementation that you're doing. So things can be, audited, if there are any kind of such biases that going to be in your AI model. There has to be training and awareness to your employees as well, as an healthcare organization, so they understand that how to responsibly use these AI models. So yeah, these are the again the centerfold, of that. And again, yeah, a lot of these industries are picking up on that. They are using, these intelligent, artificial intelligence, incorporating them into their compliance infrastructure. And I know that HIPAA especially is they are really, tightening it up. The telehealth is a whole kind of thing, is very, could be very invasive, sometimes. So there are already they are working on making it more and more, in terms of the data protection and privacy and equality, keeping that in mind. So yeah, I mean, those should be the centerfold of your when you're developing these AI models.
Excellent. And Mubashir has a question. How can businesses audit their AI tools regularly to avoid bias and ethical pitfalls?
Yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of different ways companies are doing that. There are, the basic of that is that they have certain, like, logging mechanisms. So if they feel, if there are any kind of such, data, and that's built into the AI applications. Um, uh, you know, uh, so they want to, basically constantly check if there are any kind of such breaches or violations that that are in place. For example, like, if you are using the customer information for understanding, let's say, any kind of behavior on your e-commerce website, for example, then you use, to you kind of make sure that you're not, any personal information is not shared, or any such information is not shared which is going to create any kind of data bias. So those are the things that, that are in place. There are some tools out there as well, which are used. There is, I think, MindBridge AI Auditor, which is help you with the any kind of unusual transactions or financial records. And then there are, other tools out there that help with the understanding of audit trails and create those kind of alerts if there are any kind of data biases there.
Great. Mia says, hello. Are most of these solutions, like improving cart abandonment rate, email segmentation, are most of these solutions that you have referenced custom built or existing solutions available to any brand? If existing, are you able to name a few?
So, I mean, a lot of these tools, like companies like Klaviyo and other companies that specializes in card abandonment, emailing, and all that, they're all kind of building some kind of a sidekick tool, right? Even Shopify has a sidekick tool that helps you with, you can kind of like help you understand, what could be the possible issues with your, for example, in this case, cart abandonment, to do that. But obviously, every, the race to AI is fast, but also is fairly early on, right? But a lot of the thing that I mentioned as an example was more of a custom solution that we built to understand that. But there are things like you can do with platforms like Klaviyo and CardStack, for example, that you can track the events automatically and then use, the AI, model that they have to understand that abandonment and all that. But again, there's always going to be something uniqueness to the business as well. So though they may help you with the general patterns, but you, for specific to your business, there always have to be some, custom approach that you have to take to do that.
Okay, great. And Bizette has an interesting question. How do you calculate ROI for an AI project?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, and it's pretty much gonna be at the basics of it. You have to understand, what kind of cost you can eliminate with the help of AI. Now, this not could be just not be the only the human cost, right? There could be a cost of doing business. For example, if AI can help you reduce your cost abandonment by 25%, so here it is your cost saving, right? So you need to understand the type of initiatives you're looking to build, and then based on that, you need to understand, okay, how much human labor, if let's say, for example, if you want to reduce your cart abandonment, as an example again, how much human will actually power will need to do that if you don't have AI, right? How much increase in sales it will do, right? How much reduce of returns and inventory waste it will happen. So all that has to be factored in to understand that how much is, there's certainly a cost to build AI too, right, and maintain it. So all that has to be factored in. All those KPIs have to be factored in order for you to, to come up with an ROI for the implementation.
Great. And why don't we have wrap it up with two more questions? Hiba asks, let me just get one of Hiba's questions here. Can you share an example where an AI initiative failed and what you learned from it?
AI initiative. I mean, so I always say that. I mean, it's failure is not always like, that it's a failure. We always learn from it. Um, so I mean, I know that. I mean, again, I'm just quoting an industry example here. It's a very famous one that, they IBM Watson, which has been around for a long time, they tried to do something in terms of helping revolutionize cancer treatment. So it's just that so there were some inaccurate recommendations made from that IBM Watson oncology product. Now, not that doesn't necessarily mean that it was the technology was not great, or the AI just didn't work better. A lot of it depends on the data that you provide to it, right? And So it's again, we are still at, I would say, the infancy of AI. We also do have done implementations where where we thought that AI will help us, but it not really, because we just didn't have enough data, or we didn't have enough understanding of the problem, if I were to say. Because see, ultimately these AI models have to be developed by engineers, right? And they will only you have to have a good understanding of the problem too before you actually implement these models. So that's why in in I've in some cases for us also it has not worked well, because not having enough data, or not being able to create the right AI model that is going to give us the right results that we are looking for. And that's where all that human intelligence comes in, right? So the human intelligence is also evolving with artificial intelligence, because it's challenging us to come up with the to understand, to come up with those problems, or come up with the context that we can give to AI, so that it can give us the results that we are desiring, or that will help us make those decisions.
Great. And one more question. Let's hear from Tasneem. What's the best way for a mid-sized company to identify which AI use case to start with?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because that's a question for any type of company, I would say. So they need to look for high impact use cases, right? So, for example, again, I'm go back to the example of e-commerce companies, right? One of the big issues a lot of the e-commerce companies face is that they get constantly asked questions about products, about what this can do, what this cannot do, or if it's a shoe, for example, I'm purchasing what's the right size shoe for me, and basic stuff like that, for which you don't want to like hire a bunch of people to just answer those questions. Smart AI's solution can really help, and I'm not talking about just a chat bot, but more like an ambient AI, or more sort of intelligent AI that can understand the question, they can understand the type of questions that people have asked, and based on that give more informed decisions, right? So that's one area come to mind. Customer support is another kind of a big area, just to being able to handle the returns, the processing of that, to being able to answer those questions. Um, Email campaign and personalization, again, a lot of this could be automated. Clayview has a great AI tool to help you automate a lot of those AI optimized codes, basically being able to segment your market based on the help of AI, and being able to target those product recommendations based on your likes and dislikes of your customer base. So these are some of the areas. Sales and forecasting is another area that comes to mind, the demand planning and all that. So there are areas, but again, like I said, start with a couple of use cases, start those pain points that you currently have in the areas where you feel that you are like, a lot of cost is going into for you operationally, and then kind of see how AI can help you, you know, uh, make it more smarter. And again, it may not 100% replace human, but at least it'll get you, a good optimal framework that ultimately help your bottom line.
Excellent. Thank you, Ali. So, everyone, thank you all for joining us today. I hope this session gave you a clear view of AI is more than just a buzzword. It's a strategic asset that's helping organizations move faster, think smarter, and stay ahead. A recording of the webinar will be emailed to you after the session. And if you want to connect with one of our AI strategic consultants, just reach out after the webinar. We'll also send a follow-up email shortly. Until next time, keep innovating. Thank you, everyone.